Welcome to Cheddar Rides, our weekly show that covers all of the changes in transportation and the future of getting from here to there. I'm Kristen Scholler.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tim Stenevec, starting off our show today with some news on Boeing, because plenty of news out today on the company, starting with the airline settling the first claim stemming from the Lion Air crash. That's according to a U.S. plaintiff's lawyer who says that families of the victims will receive at least $1.2 million apiece. This news comes as the company's board of directors has created a new permanent safety committee to oversee development, manufacturing, and operation of its aircraft and services. That's in response to those two fatal 737 MAX crashes. And federal investigators are now saying that FAA inspectors who worked on training requirements for the 737 MAX planes and other aircraft were underqualified, and the Air Safety Agency actually misled lawmakers about it. Kristen, I want to start with the formation of this committee because if you recall back to reporting this spring, I think it was reporting actually from Washington Post Doug McMillan, who spoke to members of Boeing's board following the second crash and of course the subsequent grounding of the 737 MAX. And one criticism that emerged in the wake of the second crash and the grounding was scrutiny about Boeing's board of directors and the makeup of the board, the composition of the company's board. They're essentially paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to be on the board, but the board doesn't have people with a lot of engineering experience, a lot of people with aviation experience. And it was a criticism that has been levied in the wake of these tragedies.
Right, the stock up 1.5%, and so even though we haven't seen major structural changes to the board, this is going to help as a backstop, right? Or basically a check maker on a company that is basically oversight over its own planes, and that is certainly what happened in the 737 MAX. For years, actually, we learned throughout this investigation that the FAA really was not that involved and instead left a lot of the oversight to Boeing itself to approve its own planes. Boeing has few competitors in this space, and so you got to wonder what the incentive was to really make sure that everything was perfectly all systems go before they had to push it out the door in order to meet some of these aggressive timelines. Some other news here. Alexa is heading to America's largest automaker. GM announcing Wednesday that it does plan to integrate Amazon's assistant, Alexa, into millions of its vehicles starting next year. Any 2018 Cadillac, GMC, or Chevy vehicle or newer would also be eligible for this upgrade. General Motors joins Toyota, Ford, BMW, and Audi who have teamed up with Amazon for direct integration of Alexa. There's a lot of competition, Tim, for that dashboard, right? For the connected space within these cars. And so no surprise, because Alexa in some ways does feel ubiquitous at this point among the smart speakers. I mean, far and away the biggest market leader in that space. It does probably make sense that these big automakers wanted to partner with it on the scales.
It absolutely makes sense. And I'll never forget a few years ago when the first, not the first Amazon Echo came out, but when the Echo Dot first came out, I think it was Business Insider did an article about actually essentially rigging one of these Echoes for the vehicle. What this writer did was he paired it to his cell phone in his car and then created a sort of a portable version of the Echo and wrote about it. And it was an incredibly popular story. And I wonder to what extent Amazon looked at that story and was like, okay, this actually creates a good use case for the vehicle, creates a good use case for Alexa. I also think there is this sort of fight for voice in the vehicle right now.
Definitely.
And Amazon absolutely right now has the experience with its Alexa devices inside the home to move that technology to the car. It's already happening in other vehicles. Makes sense for GM, for it to happen with GM. The thing about the last thing I'll say about vehicles is people don't upgrade their cars, right? Like people hold on to cars for a long period of time.
Unless they lease their car.
Exactly, unless they lease their cars. Very good point. But if you get into a car that sort of on the outside looks like a pretty new car, but it's from like 2012, 2013, it's pretty shocking to see just the dashboard layout.
The difference.
And the difference, yeah, because if you think about the iPhone you were using in 2013 versus the iPhone you're using today.
It is a lot different, and I think, to your point here, Alexa, the more skills, the more activity it has, right, the smarter it becomes. And so my point earlier that it's ubiquitous does provide a leg up that Amazon has on the competition, because presumably it knows a lot more and can act a lot faster. Okay, and some other news here. An electric bike you can fold on the go in 10 seconds. Gocycle's new model, the GXI, is changing the way that cyclists commute and store electric bikes. Joining us now is Richard Thorpe, the designer and founder of Gocycle. Richard, it's good to have you with us. How is the GXI making electric bikes more friendly for commuters?
Well, as a pioneer in the industry, we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary, and I've seen a lot of development in the market since we launched in 2009. What we offer that other products don't is a very convenient package in terms of being able to take the product in your living space if you live in an urban area, to fold it up quickly, and also have the convenience of scooting to work and not breaking a sweat with the electric motor.
So who are you going after, Richard? Who are you going after in terms of where they live and where they work?
Yeah, so I think our primary market is commuters. We're seeing strong growth in that sector in Europe in particular, but the American market is developing up very, very rapidly now and catching up with Europe. The product is geared towards what we would say a savvy commuter. That's someone that's just starting to look at alternatives to get from A to B in a more healthy and sustainable way.
Are there ways or companies, Richard, that you've partnered with to try to get more people using bikes to get to work versus cars?
I think, we are a small challenger brand. We have to leave that to the big guys. But we do a lot of innovative events and promotional activities, shows where we try to get as many people on the product as we can. It's one conversation at a time, to be honest with you.
How do you prevent copyright infringement, especially coming from China, an area of the world that is known to look at what the president right now is talking about with forced technology transfer, a host of copyright issues?
That's a fantastic question. I left McLaren Cars in 2002 to start the company. We have seen copies attempts of the Gocycle over the years. It's quite a revolutionary product. It's the only product that's injection metal molded in magnesium. There's a lot of technology behind it, and while we do have a number of very strong key patents, the Gocycle is actually very challenging to produce to the high standards of quality that we have. And when we've seen competition develop or copycats developed, we found that they've given up because it's incredibly hard in our market to produce probably the world's lightest electric folding bike.
Richard, the sustainability of the batteries, I assume they're much safer for the environment, but how much safer, and what are you doing to try to make them more sustainable so that it is a more environmentally friendly product?
That's a fantastic question also. The industry as a whole, I don't think, has gotten to grips with the fact that e-bike sales are booming, and we're producing all manner of lithium battery packs that don't really have a clear solution in terms of recycling those. We recently, as a company, have decided within our warranty package of what we offer customers to actually recommend to customers that they recycle their pack after 5 years, regardless of the condition of the pack. And we offer an opportunity for our customers to essentially buy into the latest technology and development of lithium cells at a small discount on their original purchase, so that we're trying to encourage people to be aware of the sustainability of what they're doing. It's a product that they can't just buy and just dump the battery pack anywhere. It needs to be recycled.
Richard, I know that you sell to, or consumers can buy these from dealers or buy them directly from your website. What's the mix in terms of sales between third parties and direct to consumer at this point?
That's a very challenging point in the market right now. The industry is booming. The customer is becoming very aware of e-bikes, but the route to market, as you highlighted, is very challenging for all brands. I'm actually beaming from our Gocycle store in Mallorca, where we're piloting what we can do selling direct to consumer. But to be honest with you, the amount of sales that we have direct to consumer is a very small percentage of our overall sales. What we're finding is while the market is maturing and the customers, there's still a lot of investment and curve that customers want to go on. Where they come into our shop or go online, obviously they're going to hear that Gocycle is probably the best urban electric folding bike on the planet. But sometimes, while they may choose to buy a Gocycle, they prefer to go to a dealer where they'll see a number of different products there. They'll get a sense of an unbiased view of all the different variants of e-bikes out there. And then there's a number of different categories. So I think direct is going to be a much bigger piece of the e-bike market going forward. But right now, the main bulk of the business is being sold through specialist retailers and people that are dedicated to e-bikes. There's also a service component is necessary. It is a vehicle in the US that can take you for 20 miles an hour. There's a lot of stuff going on there that you need service for.
And I think some people would say they're pricey. I'm looking on the website now. It seems like $2,300 to almost $6,000 is the price range for these. Richard, we got to leave it there.
Are realizing that
they're like vehicles.
These things is a route to save money, but also to stay healthy and active. And I think that's a neat part about the challenge with e-scooters that's coming online. E-bikes do offer that healthy component that e-scooters don't.
All right, we got to leave it there. Richard Thorpe is the designer and the founder of Gocycle. Thank you so much for joining us on Cheddar today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Well, coming up, guys, an exclusive tour of JetBlue's brand new Airbus. It's the A321Neo. Right after this. Welcome back to Cheddar Rides. Well, JetBlue gave Cheddar a first look of its brand new Airbus A321Neo. The fuel-efficient extended-range aircraft is the first of JetBlue's 85 on order. The plane's maiden flight took off yesterday with a route from New York's John F. Kennedy Airport to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport in Florida. And our very own Hope King sat down with Elizabeth Windram, the Vice President of Marketing at JetBlue, for a tour of the plane. Check it out.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for inviting us here.
Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the Neo.
I know, and we're on it. before the first commercial flight.
We are.
What makes the Neo different, the A321Neo different from the A321?
So this is our Neo. It has 200 all-core seats, 42 even more space seats. We've preserved the legroom that people know and love from JetBlue. You get 32 inches on our core seats and 35 in the even more space. We've enhanced the connectivity features, the comfort features, and our commitment to customer service.
What about the A321Neo makes it different from the 321 that's already in flight?
So the engine is different. It is 50% quieter and 20% more fuel efficient. So it's a more sustainable aircraft. That also means we can take it on longer journeys. So while this plane will fly throughout our network, it will take on a lot of those longer flights, 7-hour-long flights, going all the way down to Guayaquil, Ecuador, or Georgetown in Guyana.
Amazing. And what about the interior of the plane? Are there some special design features that are unique to the Neo?
There are. So this is the future of JetBlue. We've doubled down on a commitment to connectivity and comfort and our commitment to service. This aircraft has the new Avant entertainment system for IFE, which can connect to your phone, which will be connected to Fly-Fi via our Viasat-2 satellite. So we have a lot of different customer-friendly features for storage, including some mesh pockets and a larger pocket for your laptop. We've really thought of everything. There are a lot of options for charging. So everyone has a USB port, and you don't have to do yoga anymore to get to the power and see power. It's right in front of you.
Sometimes it's, a struggle to use the remote that's in the seat, and you've now moved all those controls not only to the screens, but you can pair your smartphones now on the Neo planes. Explain.
Right, no more accidentally changing your neighbor's channel with your armrest. It's all touchscreen, and in fact, you can pair your phone using the Wi-Fi to the device and use your own personal device as a remote control to watch the movies. We've doubled down on seatback screens. While I know many airlines are taking them away, all of our research shows that customers like to multitask just like they do at home. So if you're watching a movie or a live game on DirecTV, you can use your personal device for checking work email or social media, and you're not committing your personal device to a single experience.
Awesome. And I do notice that behind us, we've got a little pantry section, which has been redesigned. How are you thinking about snacking and eating and meals on these
So we
flights?
have our signature service, of course we do, with food and beverages that come through at certain times, but at any point during the flight, while you're able to get up, we have our pantry open where customers can self-serve a snack or a drink at their leisure. It makes everyone a bit more comfortable and gives people the power of choice through the flight.
Now, you spoke a little bit about how the engine is more fuel efficient, which of course is very important at a time when we are talking about global climate change and how we can all do our best to stop it. What else is JetBlue doing to try to curb, and we've seen these emissions go up, especially when it comes to air travel, to help that around the world?
As an airline, we have to admit that we emit, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're part of solutions for sustainability. We do offset our flights. We've taken these new engines, we've changed the way that we do our service to reduce waste in cabin, and we'll continue to commit to that as a business.
What are some general customer trends that you've been seeing being requested of JetBlue?
Customers want to be able to live their life on an aircraft the way they do on the ground. So connectivity is important. Having fast, free Wi-Fi, we call it Fly-Fi, is something that we're extremely committed to and proud to be able to offer on this aircraft. It will cover 99% of our range, including over water, which is new and exciting for us and for our customers. They want to stay connected. They've asked us for that, and we're committed to not charging for that bandwidth.
So you've been to the stock market, you've chatted with us. You know we care a lot about the markets, and there are some signals recently that suggest we might be heading into a recession, and that potential is there. Is there a way that JetBlue foresees itself weathering any type of downturn economically?
We have not seen any softness in terms of people wanting to fly, and we'll weather that storm if it comes by updating our capacity plans. But for now, everything is as robust as we would hope it would be, especially heading into the holiday.
For sure, and I think one of the things that people love about flying JetBlue is the consistency of the service and also the pricing as well. Are you still trying to compete on that level when it comes to flying longer distances, pricing, quality, budget?
I think that's exactly it. So a really great, consistent product with excellent customer service delivered at a fair price is what JetBlue is all about, and we're as committed to that as we have been from day one.
That was Elizabeth Windram, Vice President of Marketing at JetBlue, and our very own Hope King there on the brand new A321Neo from Airbus, taking its maiden voyage just this week. Well, coming up, guys, the app that is helping Tesla owners understand the efficiency of their vehicles through data collection. We're talking to the co-owner of Tezlab. That's right after this.
Welcome back to Cheddar Rides, everyone.
Well, it's like a Fitbit for Tesla vehicles. Tezlab is an app that tracks the efficiency and total miles traveled in a Tesla vehicle. Tezlab even allows drivers to control certain functions of their vehicles through the app, like unlocking doors and air conditioning. Joining us now is Ben Schippers. He's CEO of HappyFunCorp, which is the maker of Tezlab. Ben, it's great to have you back on Cheddar.
Thanks for having me.
Tesla owners know that you can do so much already through Tesla's own app,
right?
Through Tesla's own. So what are you guys able to do that Tesla doesn't provide?
So what Tesla built is really controls for the car, right? So you can unlock the car, you can summon it, you can turn on the heat. What you can't do on the current app, and what they probably won't do for a long time based on their current roadmap, is a lot of the sort of Fitbit related features: trip data, elevation, speed, efficiency, how well you're driving, how you compare to your friends. So there's this like massive social element that they're not going anywhere near for a handful of reasons that we could get into. But most importantly, what you can do with their app is great, but it's only one very small portion of what you can do inside of Tezlab.
So what are those reasons why Tesla doesn't want to get into this themselves?
Right, okay, so that's sort of a loaded question, but what they don't want to get into right now is they don't want to be sharing or be responsible for user data, in particular user driver data.
Why?
Because if you get into an accident or I get into an accident, they don't want to be held liable right now in terms of having to go into court to say, here are the records, we can show you all of the information.
So does your data show that they've been responsible for a significant amount of accidents?
No.
That's good.
It is good, yeah.
It sounds to me like it's a sort of a Strava type of product.
Just like Strava, yeah. So Strava is a lot of inspiration for us in terms of product. That's a great comparison.
So it would make sense, though, that Tesla perhaps would want to acquire a company like yours. Has there been interest?
There has been interest. I mean, we've been talking to them on and off for 2.5 years. I think right now, they're sort of looking at us and saying, okay, well, let's see how far you all are willing to push it and see what the community, most importantly, is interested in adopting. So we're sort of taking on a lot of the risk that they don't have to right now. And as a result of that, they can sort of cherry pick what's working and what's not working.
What's the demand from Tesla drivers with this?
Very high. We're turning on anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 accounts every single month. So, and that's we're growing as fast as the Model 3 is shipping.
So I guess like a Fitbit, when we say it's like the Fitbit for Teslas, are there
Right.
health reports or sort of action items that you provide the drivers in terms of how to become more efficient or something like that?
Totally. So we send daily reports about how you're driving. We send daily reports about how you're driving compared to how somebody else is driving. And so through that, you can learn to just drive more efficiently, spend less money, et cetera.
Well, one thing that moves Tesla's stock is the number of new cars sold, especially Model 3 vehicles that are shipped. It's a big deal when those numbers come out every quarter.
Right.
Are you guys able to offer some sort of window into vehicle delivery numbers because of these activations? Can you be a proxy for that?
We can be a proxy for a lot of those types of data points. Number of cars that they hold that pretty close. So it's hard for us to figure out. I think coming back on the show 6 months from now, we might be able to zoom out and say, based on the correlation we see with number of cars that are being turned on, we can say this quarter, this many cars are being shipped and made and purchased. So relatively soon, I think we'll be able to answer that question. We can't answer it well right now, though.
How do you protect the data?
Carefully. We use third-party services. That's a really good question. We use third-party services that are the best in the business to protect the data.
All right, Ben Schippers, we got to leave it there. He's the CEO of HappyFunCorp, which is the maker of Tezlab. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me again.
Guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Cheddar Rides.
We will be back here next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time for our next show, but do not go anywhere because Closing Bell is continuing after the break.